It's 5:30. We'll call this meeting of the Charter Revision Commission to order, May 2nd, 2018. Roll call,
Mike Supernaut.
Mary Portress.
Who saw it?
Kathy Tendridge. Virginia Sandy.
George Percival. Okay, let's approve the minutes of our last meeting, which was a public hearing.
I make a motion that we approve April 26th public hearing minutes.
Oh, second, sorry.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, nobody's opposed. We'll move on to discussing the possible amendments, proposed amendments with the board of selectmen. I talked with Louisa today about how many we could possibly get on the ballot. Others?
Those are everything, the updated.
You mean these here? I don't know how updated they are.
Because that's what we wanted to discuss today, I was going to update. Those are the same ones that we received about 2-3 weeks ago. And we wrote on.
And I gave you my copy the other
Yeah, I
night.
have them right here, then, okay. I didn't know if they had been updated.
No, because that's what we're going to, hopefully we'll discuss tonight, and then I'll,
Yeah.
one of us will update.
Now, with these proposed amendments to the charter, I talked with Louisa, she gave me a ballot from 2004, I think?
I think it was 7.
2007, where there were 14 other questions on the ballot. Now, these ballots are printed on two sides, and apparently they have to be aligned in a manner so that you're not going over one that comes through on the other side or something like that. And they can get quite wordy, and that's something that we have to be concerned with. How we're going to word these amendments so that they fit in the little boxes that we get. So.
And I think the print can only be, you can only go a certain size in the print.
Yep, so the font, by statute has to be, obviously you want people to be able to read them. The boxes, there's only a limited amount of boxes. You have to keep in mind that there may be state questions on the ballot also this year because it's a state election. And I have not gotten an answer yet from the Secretary of State whether or not they are having state questions, but last week at this town clerk's conference, it sounded like there might be. So I'm waiting for the registrars to get back to me about whether or not there are any state questions, and I don't know how that will affect the ballot. But yes, you are limited to how many boxes you can have. You can only have the size that Lou had, I believe it was 11 by 17.
Well, yeah, it was printed on
maybe.
11 by 17, but.
Yeah, and that's the biggest you can have, so you are limited to what you
Does
can
the
have.
state have a deadline when they will let you know if they're gonna have questions on the ballot?
I think they probably already know, and the registrars are supposed to be getting that information to me. It would be constitutional questions, I believe. So usually they only have 1 or 2, and I don't even know if it has to be on the same line or if it goes on a different line. I'm not really sure because we've never had charter questions, I don't believe, on a state ballot with state questions. So everything's new.
Okay. So, that being said too, we may be forced to cut back a little bit, depending on what the state does. So, how do we want to do this? We're going to have to word these things in a way so as everything will fit. And if you look at it, see, the backside there's plenty of room. So you can do that, but I don't know how you want to word these.
Well,
And then
my thought was that the wording to be proper is probably going to go through the town's legal.
Probably.
And then legal is going to give us what to put on that ballot for wording.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is do we take the recommendation from the town clerk and let's just say go down from 12 or 14 down to 10, so then we're safe, and then if we have something from the state, and then after this commission is over, when we have a binder, we can give it back to Louisa, because some of the things that I was thinking about that aren't important, or that we don't have to really, maybe in 5 years when there's another charter revision, if they only have 5, 6, 7 things to take up, the smaller things that aren't important could be on that
Well, this could be done every year, can't it?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have to wait for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, you have to
So
do
you
it for 5 years.
there you go.
Or you can always allow blue people to do this. But,
Wait, where's that Peter card? Was that-
not here.
I would
Anyway,
suggest at least every, maybe 3 years. Look at it.
Yeah.
that's fine, or whenever something comes up that you really have to change or may be beneficial to the town.
Right.
Now, with these questions, Kathy, have you gone through any of these with our town attorney as far as wording yet?
The only one that has gone through the town attorney, as far as wording, is the one that we had to change due to the court case. That wording has been approved by the attorney, and that's why there's a sticker there. So
Oh.
that one, we know the wording is good on it.
Well, that's not
Other
part of
than
these
that-
proposals.
Other than that, we have not sent this all over because, again, we don't know which questions are actually going to be on the ballot or which you choose to go forward with. So we didn't want to send, 14 questions over there if we're only going to use maybe 9 or 10 of them.
Well, then why don't we prioritize and decide which questions are the ones that we want and which ones we can live without for the time being?
I think that's fair, and, obviously we have to come up with a number on what we want on there.
So let's quickly go through this.
I'm sorry, can I just say something?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that the printer that prints the ballots, Atkins printer, said that as soon as you get a draft, I can send it to him, and before we go to the attorney, he will see if it will fit on the ballot.
Okay.
If the amount of questions,
If your questions will fit, so that before we even go to the town attorney, we can make sure that everything you want on the ballot can fit on the ballot.
Okay,
Okay.
Thank you.
sounds good. So going through this, the first one, section 2.2, we just want to strike that sentence requiring 25 people to be 25 registered.
Right, and that should be short and sweet, where it says, obviously, to meet a quorum for the town, to hold a public meeting, less than 25 or whatever.
Well, actually, just strike it like that, and you can put something on the ballot, shall the requirements for a minimum of 25 registered voters be stricken from from section 2.2. I think we could do something like that.
Okay, so for right now, that's important, because that's.
That is important.
I think that's one that
So would we then be having no quorum requirements, or?
Yeah, you don't need a quorum.
Besides the board would have to have a
Besides the board
quorum, but
itself,
not
that's
for a
right.
public. So if only 3 people showed up,
Right.
and there wasn't the 25 that there is now, it'd be okay for those 3 people to give us input.
The way that it used to be.
Yeah.
If there's anything of any substance to be voted on, I'm sure you're going to.
Sure, you're gonna get
Plenty of
plenty.
people.
Sure.
Yeah, so.
So we're gonna go over these at the next time meeting anyway, so if anybody has the big one. again,
Yeah, it's gonna
30th.
be May 29th, 30th.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a public.
So if they say anything, then we have to discuss it. right?
Yes. Section 2.3, the annual town meeting. This was, you want to delay the town meeting, Kathy. And it makes sense because a first selectman is not here very long before they're supposed to start talking about the town. That could be something as simple as changing it from the third Monday in November to,
Just put a date in there. The third, first Monday in March, or the last Monday in,
you want to fix the way that
oh, not, I'm thinking of the other one.
I mean, the third Monday in November, that's what, a day or two after the
Yeah,
person
because
takes
for
over?
me, it was the day after.
Yeah.
Why not the third Monday in December? 1 month,
We
something
could,
like that.
That's a lot better than one day.
Sure.
yeah, you really, because you don't have time for notice and all of that.
So the third Monday of December, so right.
And that's an important one too.
Okay, well,
Yeah. Well, I guess
I
we
think
gotta see
so,
what-
but I mean,
yeah.
if there's something even more important than this, then this is something that's gonna have to be discussed with like the outgoing selectmen and the new one coming in. Before the new one comes in, the selectmen going out, they're gonna have conversation if they know at that point who the union is, which they would. And either the selectmen going out would have to post it, the new selectmen coming in,
Yeah.
So
because
would
it has to be done 14 days prior.
we consider this one to be a priority that we want to add on, or do we want to hold off on this one as far as?
If we can fit it on, I think it would be important to fit it on, but if there's other ones much more important,
Okay.
So as of now, we'll make it a ballot question.
yes.
All right, now the next one is about the report.
Yeah, that's really
So-
not a top priority,
Yeah.
because that's just moving it a couple weeks out.
Well, no, this is the annual report. The next one,
That's
That's the second
Second
one is the
part.
priority, the second part, right? The first part is moving,
the meeting from November, December. That's the first part of this.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, section 2.
You're on B, I was already on 2-4.
2, 3.
Oh, I did move that back down.
Yes.
I was already moving
Yeah,
it.
we skipped one line.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how about this report? We haven't done that apparently for 15 years or so. However, there is an annual budget that is available to everybody.
Yes,
Right.
it gets passed out and we,
So what do we think about this one here?
We should change it because we're violating state statute, so we're knowingly violating it. But that would be in the same, basically, the same question, correct? But two-part, that would be a two-part question.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
2
So if we put, obviously A in ballot, B is gonna be on with it,
Right,
Right.
you'd have to, right?
I would think.
Okay, so-
Yeah, just delete part B, that's all. Right? Remove it.
Well, we know, we would change it that we would not have to post the annual report.
The town report, we change that wording to an annual budget.
Correct.
Can I just add something? So it's the narrative report that's the issue. So either you take that off, delete the narrative report,
That's what I said.
or the Board of Finance does it. I mean, that's the two questions. Either you're gonna take it out, and you're still gonna have the annual report, which we
Right.
do, but
Right.
you're not gonna do the narrative.
Right, my thought would be to take out the narrative because we already produced this information. The finance director comes and prepares the budget report in accordance with 7-344. So yeah, I think that just taking out the narrative would make sense.
All right, so that sentence, the part of the sentence says narrative reports and town officers and boards. That's what we want to remove.
Yes.
Okay, that's what we're removing.
Yeah.
Or I want a report in my office, one or the other. That's the bottom line.
Okay, so we're still with striking the first part of B, though, see how the first part of B, prior to the annual meeting, Board of Finance shall prepare, publish, and distribute a town report, that's still, we're going to strike, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure, so if for some reason I rewrite it, to give out to us.
Okay. And we're going to strike the other part.
Yep.
Okay, Mike, now we can move down to 2.4.
Thank you. This is that one where the top part of it, A, is by changing it 2 weeks so we could get probably better numbers, but you're only gonna change it 2 weeks, so what's the chance of getting better numbers? But the second part of it, a lot is stricken and it's a priority. Because basically what we're looking to do is to change the government side, the Board of Ed, and make those two separate budgets instead of one whole town budget. So that's the priority part of it, I guess.
Yes.
But if we're going to do that, this is gonna be again one question, so why don't we do something with A and move the A back so we're killing both birds?
Mhm.
So we don't have to revisit it.
Okay.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
why change A at all? Since, since the Board of Finance, I mean, not the Board, but Kelly, the Finance Director, states that, we don't want to go any more than 2 weeks. So what are you gonna gain with 2 weeks?
I agree, I was just trying to appease the recommendation from the Board of Selectmen.
No, I know, I'm just bringing it out, that's all.
So you
Just
want
for
to leave
thinking.
A the same?
Personally, I would leave it the same, but hey,
It's really not gonna change much.
no.
So what do you want,
I
you
would
wanna leave
just
the
go
same and
with-
just strike?
Yeah, leave A the same.
Because
Okay.
it's the second part of it that's really important.
Yes,
not the first
right.
part.
So we're gonna leave that one the same, and then we're gonna strike that whole annual all-town budget referendum all the way down,
Yep.
and we'll see where we're
And that has to be rewritten.
correct.
Yep.
So I'll make that a priority and rewrite that the school and town budget, I don't know, we'll do something, a standalone. Think of something, and obviously, the attorney will put it in Neil's.
Can I just make one comment, Luke, too? Sorry to keep interrupting, but, when you're talking about putting 2 questions in one, you have to be careful, because you're only gonna ask, you only can have a yes and or a no.
Right.
So if you put 2 questions together, you may end up, so if one fails, both fails, sort of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we're talking about now.
I
So
understand,
keep
yeah.
that in mind when you're thinking about piggybacking questions. I don't think that's a good idea.
No, you're right, the way this thing is written.
You have to ask the question, shall you X, Y, Z, and it has to be one yes or no answer.
So we'll come back and we'll explore that one that we have a 2-question.
Yeah, that was-
Number 2, we'll come back and we'll look at that one, because this one no longer is a 2-question,
Right, this one, 2.4C, would be a question, basically one question.
and that's an important one, so that's a ballot question.
Which one, Mike?
The 2-4,
The one about splitting the school
Yes.
and the town.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely priority there.
okay,
But we're gonna leave A the same, so that's not gonna be a two-part
that's
question.
right.
All right. So, moving on to section 2.7, I think, if I understand this correctly, this section applies to referendums except for the budget process, so all we really have to do at the end is add section F, let's say, with the statement stating section 2.7 does not apply to the budget
Yes.
process?
Yeah, that's a real easy one. and
Yeah,
it's-
that's simple, all this stays the same.
It does, you want to keep it the same, because I obviously
Yeah, all
struck
this,
that.
yeah, no, that all stays the same because that applies to the petition for referendum for everything except the budget.
All right, so keep
Yes.
that and then add, section 2.7 does not apply to the budget process, comma, section 2.4.
Yes.
And that's what we're gonna put, okay.
Yep.
So keep, is that a ballot?
Yes.
That's an F, right?
Yeah, that's section F.
Okay.
Okay. The voting districts, that was important to the registrars.
Yes, it was.
And actually, it does cost the town a lot of money
It
to have all these,
Good.
Yeah.
so.
And you know what I liked about that? Then when we have a referendum, we don't have to do it just from 12 to 8 o'clock. We can do it all day.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's a big complaint.
It is,
Yep.
so,
No,
But are we gonna go with one central polling, or are we gonna go with 2?
I think they recommended one.
Yes,
they
they
did,
did.
Yeah, mine
they
is-
did, the registers.
The town hall is big enough. to do
Sure it
this. We have parking, there's plenty of stacking, people. And besides, we're not a city, I don't believe that we're gonna be getting a lot of people waiting in line. I know that from working here, every time I come to vote, I don't have to wait.
But there's nothing that says they can't add 5 machines either, like,
Oh.
let's say right now we have 7 machines in
You're
there.
right, and that's gonna speed it up too.
Correct, and they add 5 or 6 machines in there because now they have a bigger
Right.
pool
Right.
of poll workers.
Yeah. So why don't we try consolidating it into one location here at the town hall?
One central polling place plus referendum would be 6 to 8, but that's what the registrars deal with. We don't have to put any of that.
No.
Do you have to state in there where it's going to be held or not?
I would think that we should.
Yeah, I do too.
one polling place isn't good enough, I don't think, because somebody could pick Central Village
Well,
or whatever. Well, I think we should.
One central polling place located at 8 Community Ave.
Right.
why don't we just say the Plainfield Town Hall?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what if we build a new town hall someday? At a different location?
I think the charter would change.
I like your Plainfield Town Hall, no matter where it is.
That's true, yeah.
So one central, just for writing it out, one central polling place located at the Plainfield Town Hall.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a ballot?
Yeah.
We're up to 5.
That's a real.
Just make sure, excuse me, when you change that you change it from 4 voting districts to 5.
Oh, yes.
Because we no longer have 4 voting
That's- yeah,
districts.
you're
We
right.
have 5. And that's our state, the state did that. So,
Okay, so then obviously that 3.4, all of that stuff in the top will actually still be in.
Well, we're gonna change it. So
Right.
5
So
voting
it's
districts.
just a 5.
Yes.
Okay. This is a ballot.
Yeah, that's something too. Okay, the terms in office. Louisa, you came up with this, so maybe you can explain it a little bit better. Or should we leave this to the attorney to rewrite?
yes.
This is that real confusing one.
Yes. I think that, that section 4-3 and section 4-4, I believe it's subsection
E?
C or E. Yeah, the wording needs to be corrected per the town attorney. So I think if we just, if you want to correct that, that was his recommendation, and that would be 2 separate questions, and we could just let him reword it.
That's probably the best thing since you
Yeah.
came up with it.
Okay, that's fine with me.
But those are not automatic ballots right now because those can be circumvented by appointing at the time like we did, correct? So if there's other things that are more important that we want to put on because we can appoint,
This is not a priority.
correct, I would,
All right, well, we worked around it so far, I mean, nobody has
if we
questioned.
want to fill or something like that, that's when we'll come back.
We can leave it off.
Okay.
And how about the vacancies? That one would
No,
not
because,
be.
yeah, I mean, I tell people what their positions are and what their terms are, and they pretty much listen, so it's okay with me if you leave it off and we just go the way we're
All right,
going.
so section 4.4 is not going to be a priority either.
Right,
No, non-priority?
hold that up.
Yeah, we'll go back to that.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we have 2 of them, or 3 of them. Or C and E, yeah, okay. Now, chapter 7, the appointed boards and commissions. They haven't been active for quite some time, have they?
Yeah.
So if we consider those to be
Not a
non-priority.
priority also.
Yeah.
Town council.
I do know, going through a few first selectments and obviously my position that that's important because the new first selectman doesn't have an opportunity to meet with all of the councils and familiarization. And I know we sat down and talked, Kathy and myself. So that was kind of important to give them more time to make a decision on who they're gonna use for land use, labor,
Right.
and all the different attorneys that we have. Would you say?
I think it's important,
I do
because
too.
you really need to be able to sit and spend time with them.
Yeah.
And January 15th just isn't enough time.
So we want to say March
Yeah,
15th, that sound good?
March 15th.
Which one are you on now?
Number 9?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry,
Sure.
I didn't hear, that's why.
Oh, okay, yeah, number
Thank
9.
you.
So we're going to change that from January 15th to March 15th.
And March 15th, you think is acceptable? Because there is no, that's just a time that we have to do it by then. we can push it out.
That's,
I think, Mike, because you figure you come in November, you go through the holiday, you don't really get a lot done then. So it gives you almost 3 months into the new year.
So March
I
15th?
think March 15th would be okay.
And a ballot question?
Is that a priority ballot question?
Yeah.
okay. Number, section 9-1, general board procedure.
Not a priority?
I'm gonna stick my nose in again. So Mary Ellen brought up to me that the Board of Assessment Appeals, which is an elected board, does not have a recording secretary provided by the town. And one of their members does act as a secretary.
Oh, okay.
So I think this is not priority, and we should just let it go. That was my recommendation to fix it, but I think since there is an elected board that provides their own secretary, maybe we should, I mean, we could change it to if necessary, you know, to elect
Why
a
don't we
secretary.
just leave it as is?
Necessary, or
and-
just leave it as
Yeah,
is.
just,
So strike?
yeah,
I
just,
would
Leave it
say.
as it is, okay, good. That's good.
I mean, if the boards have secretaries, they have secretaries, that's all. Actually, what happens is that if the chairman, vice chairman aren't there, the secretary runs the meeting.
Yeah, chief of the
Exactly. All right, moving on to the preparation of the operating budget.
To reflect more realistic figures.
What does that mean?
Right.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we're on the.
So we're on
10-2,
10-2, preparation of the operating budget. So what this is, and I wish Kelly was here to describe it better. Let me just read through it, okay? So what this is saying is that you cannot take more than, it cannot exceed 2% of the total expenditures out of the contingency, which is really the general fund balance.
Mhm.
So, because of such a tight budget season, and it would limit us to how much actually could come out of the general fund balance if we were to change that number.
So you want to change the 2% to a higher percentage?
I would want to have Kelly really look at this and
Okay.
come up with a realistic, a really good number that would benefit.
Maybe we're gonna postpone that?
Yeah, well, we can talk to Kelly about
Yeah,
that.
well, you could just give us an email, talk to
Yeah.
Kelly tomorrow or whenever, and then just email us, so for next week,
Right.
when we have these all written out, we could put that in, and then we decide if we want to make it a priority or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And ask Kelly if she can, well, you can make that decision too about it,
Right.
Yeah,
and if 2% isn't realistic, maybe it should be a priority.
Right, is that a priority question to you, or we don't still know right now?
it could be, depending on how much the state cuts, if we go into
That's
election.
true, too, you know, you never know.
That wasn't released today, huh?
I don't have it yet, what if it was.
Have we ever exceeded this with, in the past?
That's what I said, I wish that, you know, the director was here, because she would better be able to.
So we'll just put numbers from first selectman,
Yeah,
recommendation from first selectman, and we'll just keep it status quo. Right?
okay, and then we have the last one, which is the tax collector to an appointed position. I think we heard, working on both sides, but it would be no more not being appointed. What do you feel about this one?
Obviously, somebody who is elected is against it, but the board of selectmen who is elected is against it.
I'm not against it.
Okay.
I don't really know. I don't don't think we've ever had an issue with an elected tax collector and a problem with that. So, but I,
So I believe it, we haven't.
I mean, when you see all those towns that have changed it, I think it shows the need for really an ongoing professional.
But also, it wasn't in there, I don't think, was in there and didn't tell us if those were town manager forms of government, if they were council forms, what were the forms of government?
That's right.
Which I didn't like, because you would want to know, if you have a professional a town manager that maybe is here for 10 years, that's a little bit different in how they appoint.
Right, and they are different, because like Killingly, town manager, Putnam, mayor,
But
selectman,
those, yeah, but
and town council.
That's
looking at the
my,
list here, it seems about half and half would have town manager and half would be selectman.
or mayor
Well, yeah, yeah.
with the commission, so.
It's Putnam, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, they have a manager, Killenly has a town manager. The smaller towns like Brooklyn, Sterling, Norwich.
That should be another priority.
Yeah. it's kind of,
What was that?
This, I mean, it could, we heard the pros and cons, it could be beneficial either way, so maybe it's not at the top of the list for putting on, I mean, we could still consider it.
Plus, there would be a little bit more exploration, I think, that we would have to do on the forms of government of all the towns that do appoint,
Yeah.
and why do they appoint.
Well, for the time being, why do we consider it non-priority to be on the ballot at this point unless we have space? So, let me see.
Lou, was there, at a previous meeting, did somebody mention changing terms of office for the 6-year terms?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wonder if you're considering that at all.
6-year terms for the
For
commissions?
the planning and zoning.
Board bed 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Kind of long terms, maybe,
Well, there are long terms.
and maybe people are turned off by that long term.
But on the Board of Education, there's a lot you have to learn. So I'm not so sure that.
And nobody's forcing them, they can resign and then somebody is appointed.
Right.
It's just like, obviously, which I personally I was against, was changing the selectmen's term from 2 to 4 years. There were a lot of things from going from 6 to 4, selecting 2 to 4. I think right now, it's proven that it's functional. Nobody's holding, them onto that board.
And they
Their
do
life
resign.
changes,
People
yeah,
do
they resign all the time. If their
Yeah.
life changes, they can resign, we'll appoint who we feel is the best.
Yeah.
That's fine, I just wanted to ask.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
And that's right, that's not just for the board, but like you said, the suggestion for our selectmen being changed from 2 to 4. I think, like you said, it's not really an issue, so I wouldn't consider it a priority.
No, if you're good, you throw yes again. If you're
Yes.
not, then we get a new roll.
Right.
Pretty much it.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a while first, like Kathy, you're in that position, you're new to it, so it takes a while to learn.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think maybe after 2 years, you go, okay, now I got it.
Right.
What do you say, who signed up for this?
Yeah.
That's good.
And my concern with the 4 years is if you get somebody in that's horrible, in 4
Exactly.
years, they can do a lot of damage financially and just a lot of damage.
You're right. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So,
Now, 2 years is good. 6 years will be good too.
And if they're doing a good job, they'll get reelected in 2 years. If they're not, they won't. That's all simple.
The other suggestion that was brought up, which I think would require a lot more research, and I wouldn't consider it this time around, was changing forms of government. Is our current form of government, Board of Selectmen, First Selectmen, is that appropriate for the town in this current day and age, or have we considered town manager, as was discussed, town council?
That comes up occasionally, but for this commission here, basically, you're gonna have to rewrite everything the town has to change the form of government. I don't know if we want to get into that.
And I don't think that's a decision that 4, 5, or 7 of us will make. That's a huge decision of a change of the town, so 9,000 voters should, that's a lot.
Or maybe we can do it when, in the next 5 years, when we do the
Well,
job.
that's right, start looking into it now.
Yeah, yeah.
Have a couple of public meetings to see what the general consensus is.
and look at the difference.
Well, I think it is effective.
Yeah.
It's effective.
Yeah.
So,
So what do we have for now, questions?
So what were you gonna do about that section 2.3 A and B?
No, yeah.
Well, I wrote down that's important to kind of fit, but
right, we may have to split those off, so let's go back and count how many ballots we have right now. And then if we're gonna make these a split too, or what we're gonna add.
Okay, so we have for now.
I have,
6,
2.3.
you have 6.
I have 6 that are priority.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me which ones they were. I have 2.2,
Yep, she does 2.
2.3,
We have 2 of them for 2.3.
so that's 2.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
2.
so you're gonna make that a 2? We're gonna make that a 2?
I guess we have to.
Okay,
Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sure.
Otherwise, you vote
Three,
for.
okay, then we have 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, what's the next one?
Then that was, what?
Section 2.4, number 3, section 2.
Yeah, 2.4B, I guess it is.
Yeah. Yes.
C, whatever it is, I don't have a letter on
I
mine.
don't, I don't either.
But that would be about the separate budgets for public
Okay.
education and town budget.
Let's see.
Then we have section 2.7, we're adding section F. We're changing section 3.4, the voting districts.
Okay.
Section 8.2.
You don't forget 4.3 and 4.4 that we're gonna have the attorney look into?
Well, yeah, well, we have those on priority.
Oh, that's not priority, okay, yeah, okay.
What's the last one?
8.2 is a priority. And that's the last one I have for
So is
priority.
that 7? Is that 7?
9, 8.2, no, right?
Well, no, she's asking how many on the.
Seven
so yes,
questions.
how many?
We have 7.
7.
7.
Yes, Louisa,
Okay.
that was on our paper.
What you're saying, this was a 6?
So if that's 7, that's our base right now, are we trying to get to 10?
I would,
I would do.
yeah, and then let's prioritize the rest of them and write them all up
Mhm.
and see what we can fit. If we can fit all 10, great. If we can't, we start knocking them off in the end.
My problem is, if, do you want, because I have it already, do you want me to rewrite these again, and I can send them, or get them to everybody?
That'd be great.
And rewrite them as we see fit, but the problem is I am not gonna rewrite section,
All about the budgets.
4.3 and 4.4 because of the legalese. That's all gonna be.
Right.
Yeah.
So just leave,
Yeah, so you turn.
I'm sure there'll be other items that come up before you're done.
Well, we hope not, because we have to start finalizing this.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll have a couple-
When do you have to start filing?
2 more. This next meeting, we'll probably bring these all forth and then work out some finer details. And then the third meeting, basically make it concrete. And then that next meeting, May 30th, is going to a town
Here,
hearing.
at that public hearing,
Yeah.
we want to pretty much have a pretty firm
and that's
list
for the end of the month.
by that point.
What happens at the public hearing, though, if someone from the public asks for another ordinance change?
They should have done that. They should have done that.
Charter change, I mean.
It could be on the list, George, for the next final
Should be on the
round.
list, that's all they can speak about?
No, I'm saying if we go to the meeting, the hearing, and somebody suggests,
Yeah.
we can keep that suggestion for the next time.
Oh, okay.
Because,
Or if it's more of a priority,
Then we not-
maybe we may want to take
Yeah.
one that's not a top priority
right,
and just move it around.
And we got one more opportunity after that, public hearing to make a.
All right.
right, but we have to start obviously now. And basically, what I thought or envisioned was, even the stuff that we don't put on there, there's gonna be a folder that we're gonna give to Louisa. So in 3 years, if there's a new commission, they get a folder and say, hey, this is what the last commission did not get to, or they didn't put on the ballot.
It wasn't on the ballot, yes.
So, hopefully. All right.
Okay, so you're gonna rewrite what you can.
Yep. But let's make some decisions, or you want me to rewrite everything and then,
Yeah, rewrite everything except for what the attorney has to do.
okay?
And,
And even then, we'll come up with our non-priorities, if they were gonna move it to a ballot, after we clean them up
yes.
and make them
Yes,
For next week.
yes, for next-
Would it be okay with you if I went to the town attorney and asked him to draft section 4-3 and 3-4 or whatever it is, to bring to the next meeting so you could look at it?
I would say yes, but Kathy, how about with you?
I would be, because we already know that we're not gonna change the wording, because it really needs an attorney
Okay.
to change that
So
wording.
please do that. one.
Okay, thank you.
That'd be great, thank you. And you'll just,
I'll bring it to the next meeting so that we can.
or if you have it early, if you could email it to me,
Sure.
and then I can put it in here for everybody.
Yep, that's okay.
That's
Yep.
fine.
Because we're just trying to make one working document.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, any other discussion about the proposed amendments? Moving on, public participation. Is there anybody in the public who would like to ask?
Naomi Smith. I'm wondering on the section of the appointment versus the hiring of the tax collector, maybe possible, I know Karen sent a letter, but could the board possibly invite her to the next meeting? So that way if the public had questions to present to her about her opinion on this?
She can, and she
I think
she
it
would
would-
like to, but she's got a conflict of her, of another job, so
Okay.
she can't attend.
Okay,
Um,
because it would have been nice to have
Yes.
more from her on her position on it,
Yeah.
as far as, you know, the positives and the negatives.
There's a little bit of a conflict, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
She lives in Sterling. That's why she can't do that.
And on that note, is why can't we move the public participation to the beginning? So if there's a problem, or if there's an issue like
Oh,
this,
we can do that.
okay,
That's not a problem. Louisa, next agenda for public participation.
just because of this suggestions or something that we could hash out now, if, let's just say, 2.4 should be great,
Yep.
you know, he's went
Yes,
over.
yes, I'll switch that for you.
Yeah, right after approval of the minutes.
Okay.
That's not a problem.
Thank you.
So if there's nothing else from the public, how about somebody making a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.